So this is for assignment 3 of week 3 where we're combining images and either thumbnails or photographs. First off, I would like to say, if you have photographs, I wouldn't submit them. I would only submit the one that represents your drawing. That's a documentation of your drawing, what you were observing there. If you do the thumbnails, I do take that into consideration during grading. There can be some benefit in doing it that way, especially if there's an element missing from the drawing that's demonstrated in the thumbnails. So something to consider there as well. Looking at combining images, the first thing we need to do is check the image size of them. So image size, we can see the shortcut here, Alt Control I. And we can see here the height's 800, the width's above that 600 mark, and the resolution is 72. So it fits with what we want to work with. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. I'm going to come to this other image, and I'm going to check again the resolution is correct, and here the height's at 800, the width's at 800. This image has been made bigger. It isn't meant to be this size, and that's why it's distorted. So just try to ignore that and think about just copying a general image. And so then we'll go ahead and hit OK on this. And then this last image, presumably your 5 thumbnails, we're going to hit Control Alt I, and then we'll see that if you're photographing or scanning work, sometimes there's inconsistency from that size. And the first thing we want to change is the resolution. We also want to make sure that the proportions are constrained, and that little lock there helps us identify that. If it's not on and we make a change here, it's going to distort the image. So notice there that the width didn't change with the height. We want this to all change together. And so hopefully I remembered what that size was. And if you don't, just cancel it. But first off, we'll change the resolution to 72. We'll go ahead and put constrained proportions on. Let me go back to 72 again on the resolution, and here I want to keep the height consistent, so I'm going to go ahead and make it 800. Since there's multiple images here, I'm going to go a little bit bigger than the standard image size, and I think that's okay. I wouldn't recommend making each of these images the minimum image size, because all the photographs and all the thumbnails really aren't that important information. So size-wise, we want to kind of only use the most valuable information at that image size. Thumbnails and photographs, again, should be constrained to something smaller. But I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And the reason why I used the height at 800, we're going to see right now, is I'm going to increase the canvas size. So image, canvas size, Alt Control C. And I'm going to use pixels. And so we know we have that 800 height there. We know that this image was 800 and this one as well. So I'm going to leave that consistent. I'm going to make room for all the other images. And I'm also going to think about where I want this image to be. I'm going to put it off to the right because I'm going to have the drawing on the left, I'd have the photograph in the middle, and then the least valuable information off to the side. I'm also going to give it a border color. So I'm going to go ahead and make this canvas extension color gray. And that way it's not the white of the background, so it actually creates a real border that we can see, and it'll help with presentation. Next I'm going to give room for the other images. So I'm going to assume they're both 800, gives me 1600 pixels I need, and I'm going to go ahead and round this up to 2700 pixels. If you need to write it down, you go ahead and write down. If the images are all the same, like with other assignments, then you just change percent and then you increase it only the width or height, how many images you have. So if you have 3 images, the width is 300% larger to accommodate 3 images side by side horizontally. So I'll go ahead and hit OK now. And next I want to copy my other images and bring them in. I'm going to shrink this down so we can see the space we're working on. I would also recommend making sure it snaps on at this point. It'll be very helpful when moving images around and keeping things organized. I'm going to go to Select All or Control A, Control C, which would be Edit Copy. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go to Edit Paste, which would be Control V. And you can notice all the shortcuts are there, very easy to help you with this. And then I'm going to take the image and I'll just leave a little bit of room for a border. Ideally the border should be even, but not really that essential with this type of assignment. Again, Control A to copy it, Control A to select all, Control C to copy it. Come here, Control V to paste it. Use the Move tool, which is shortcut V, and I'll point it out here in a second. So right there. And then the final step would be to give this a border the whole way around. So I'll go back to Image, Canvas Size, same colors selected for the extension. 1-inch border is usually good. I'll just add, or half-inch border, so add 1 to both the width and the height. Hit OK again. And now I've got a little bit of a border. I've got the images all in one file. You may want to move this one, which you could do using layers, and center it a little bit better. You may want to extend the border a little bit more, but however you do it, make sure all the images are combined, and then give some consideration to the presentation, preferably having some borders in between.